can see we're live now.
Oh, we are live now. Great. Awesome. All right, everyone. We are here with Stan the Man, Stan the Yacht Man. And today we're going to talk about new energy in transportation, particularly water vehicles. I'm going to show you Stan's website here in a second just so you get an idea of the type of machinery that Stan's working with here. Let's see. Can you see my screen, Stan?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yeah, this is our brand new Greenline 58.
I like zoom down.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you had some topics that you wanted to talk about, Stan, particularly with some of the things you got going on at Greenline.
Yeah. So Greenline has been for more than 12 years in the market, and they've been through a lot of development, releasing new boats, new generation hybrid systems, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of history behind that builds the brand. And what I was not aware of starting my own startup is that first, there is a big difference on how you start any company in boating business, right? You can invest millions of dollars in development in your team, right? You can hire professionals, professional naval architects that are doing it every day and have much more streamlined approach and inherit all the knowledge and all the experience from the industry leaders. Or you can just start and try to do the development and invent the bicycle on your own. So all of those approaches are possible, and I think the organic way of growing your technology is through the pains, but it requires to keep your brain really open and see around, and because you're facing also your cash flow, your financials. You want to keep your costs as low as possible, and that basically interferes with the innovation. And what I think it's a different type of animal that you have to just outsource to the industry professionals.
Right. So it seems like you learned a big difference between sort of your electric yacht startup, which we didn't talk too much about. That's Azor Yacht Group, right?
Yeah.
And then Greenline with, more established, more conventional, more traditional sort of business.
Yeah. So although Greenline price point is in the uppers, medium to upper level, depending on the market they are selling to, and depending on the options that every boat has. But typically the trends that the European market tend to go with the simpler boats. They want to have like simplest motors and lowest end of the interior, and not too much options. And Europe also, it was surprised to me that Europe also buys more diesel boats, because Greenline sells both Greenline diesel and hybrid.
Europe?
Yeah.
Europe buys more diesel boats.
Diesel versions of boats. Yeah.
But diesel's dirtier fuel, huh?
Exactly, but they are also less expensive. They are lighter, and they're less complex.
Oh,
So
diesel engines, right?
less complex system as a whole, depending on compared to the hybrid system.
And diesel's a cleaner fuel.
Well, it's cleaner than the gasoline, of course, but the boating industry standards uh, for the cleanness are much less standardized, much less restricted than the car diesels. So
Oh, so you're saying that the yachting or the boat regulations on sort of like all the EPA stuff is different or less strict than for a diesel truck or
yes,
car.
yes,
Right.
that's strict.
Yeah, right. And obviously, you know, that has a lot to do with like global geopolitics just as much as it does, you know, what's actually clean for the environment, right? Like if they want to drive diesel prices up or down or, you know, kill certain regions, then they just, you know, put regulations on one thing over the other, you know.
Yeah, but you can also look at the diesel cost, right? The diesel cost in the United States is pretty much the same as the gasoline. In Europe, diesel is like 20 to 30% cheaper, and your diesel motors are running much longer, much longer range, right? And have a much less fuel consumption. So European market um, makes complete sense of using the diesels, and they're not, you know, counting it as a luxury. It's their basic needs, and diesel in Europe is much cheaper, and that's the driving factor. Because here, it's pretty much the same. It makes no difference. In the boating industry, diesel motors are, of course, having less consumption than the gasoline, and they're heavier. You know, you can have more torque. If you have a big yacht, you have no choice other than using the diesel motor because of the weight and the torque and the reliability, and that's what uh, makes the diesel motor perfect, make perfect sense. But the the trend for the American market is the hybrid. Like we've sold, like, out of, you know, all boats, we've sold maybe like 5% of diesel boats. 95% are hybrid for all the American market.
Wow. So that's diesel and electric or gas and electric, or is there a different type of boat fuel?
Diesel and hybrid, and diesel electric hybrid.
Ah, so what's the advantage of doing a diesel electric hybrid uh versus just
Electric.
electric? Could you do an all electric? Was your boat that you created all electric or was that a hybrid
Mm-mm.
too?
It was a hybrid as well. Yeah, we don't see like a big trend in electric boats. So the whole point is that on electric boat you're restricted to the range, right? You don't have electric infrastructure to recharge, and you don't have superchargers like you have on the Tesla in Tesla network, for example, that you can, you know, stop by and in 30 minutes you get up to 80% of your battery capacity. You don't have that luxury on the water, and I know there are companies that are working on water infrastructure on the electric side, but it's too diverse, you know. So every time you buy an electric boat, you can have, like, there are a bunch of companies that are producing electric boats, and it makes sense. For example, if you're on a lake, right, you don't have gasoline stations on the lake, and you have your house, right? You can charge your boat at your dock at the house, and then have 2-3 hours of fun on the water with electric boat. That makes total sense. Once you're exposed into big waters offshore, or, you know, longer travels in the ocean, then you don't have that luxury of just stopping by and charging everywhere you want. So the hybrid is the solution. So you're basically pairing electric motor with the hybrid, with the diesel, right? And then you have lithium batteries as well. So you're using electric drive on the lower speeds when you want to maneuver from the dock, when you want to get out or get into the marina, or dock at the restaurant, or go into the no wake zone, right? And then once you go up in open water, you need speed, right? But the boat is having a very it's moving water, so it's not like moving air like a car, right? So you need a lot of power to move the water. So you don't need like heavy electric motors to get up on a plane, right? You're just turning on the diesel. The diesel have a lot of torque. It moves the boat much faster, and it recharges the batteries back. So you have basically a charging system on board while you're driving faster speeds.
So is there any performance benefits to a hybrid over a hey man, I should probably clean my wall, whatever this is. It's cracks or something. I'm just out of my farmhouse in the middle of nowhere. So
you have a range. Basically, you're not restricted with range. If you're out of your electric juice, you just turn on the diesels, and your diesel tanks are like 300, 500, up to 1,000 mile.
But how performance wise, compared to like for instance, like when the Tesla came out, the Tesla Roadster, it was faster than today it still is the fastest car that you can buy on the market, 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds. No gas car can do that because the electric is instant acceleration. There's no spooling of the the gas having to fire and spool the engine to get speed, and there's no loss. There's no loss in power, like from the powertrain to the wheels, because electric is just instant. Like that was what I was asking. With boats, are there any like performance?
It's all about like kilowatts and how what you are consuming. Are you consuming like a fuel? If you want like, for example, like the one of the key points for the boat performance is the weight. Right? If you're rolling on the road, you don't have as much weight dependency, because you have inertia that you can gather back on the regenerative braking, right? You cannot regenerate, cannot have regenerative braking on a boat. If you turn off the throttle, it's just gonna stop the boat instantly because of the water pushing the boat in. That's it.
Well, maybe if you had like a turbine, like a tunnel in the front bow of the boat, where water came through, like how they used to have those like turbines back in the day, and then you could have some sort of regenerative.
You can have a regenerative on a sailboat or on a sail catamaran. If you're sailing and you can tap into the electric motor to turn on the props, right? They unfold, and then the ongoing water flow basically turning the props and regenerating the battery through the electric engine.
Oh, yeah.
But you're sailing, and it's taking out, like if you're like doing like 8 knots, it's going to take out 1 or 2 knots just for that. But you're going to still sail and you're going to regenerate.
Yeah, and a sailboat's also not nearly as heavy as one of these big bad boys.
They are heavy, but their hull is a different type of a hull, right? It's going in the water, not on the water.
Right.
Yeah, and Mastervolt, I think, does the system, and there are a bunch of YouTube bloggers that are sailing their boats and showing the results from that, but the amount of energy regenerated is tiny. because the prop is small and it's not like super sufficient. The other option is on the bigger tankers, you can have like a sail, like a parasail. And I saw several concepts where you can basically, like a kite, launch the kite, and with the power of the wind, it basically flies out and it pulls the string, pulls the rope, and while you're pulling the rope, you're basically regenerating energy. And then you fold the kite, pull it back in, and then unfold it, and then regenerate again on the way up.
Wow. Wow. So Stan, I was just thinking here, I've known you for a year now, and I don't think I ever asked you, like, who wakes up one day and just decides, like, oh, I want to get into the electric hybrid yacht business. Like, did you always have a passion for boating, or, what was going on in your brain when you decided to go down this path, first creating your own
Yeah.
boat and then joining Greenline?
Yeah, I lived in Miami I live in Miami for already like 13 years. And when I was just starting here, I had wood business, manufacturing and distribution. And I had a certain burnout on it. And then when I came back home and I looked out of my window, seeing like a lot of yachts running around, and I was like, wow, I'm like in the heaviest in a heaviest region with a lot of boats and yachts, and why I'm not doing that. And that basically turned me in joining one of the sail clubs in the area. I started sailing with the guys and learned the lines and got my passion in it, and it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling when you're on a boat and you're pushed by the air, and there is nothing to compare to that feeling.
Yeah, I know. I see your Instagram. Just about every weekend, I see you're out on the sailboat.
Yeah,
It makes me
and
really jealous, to be honest.
and that's amazing, but it brings the complexity, it brings stress to owners, right? It's really hard to maintain, especially on a bigger catamaran. You have to constantly watch your sails. If they're gonna fall into the spreaders, they're gonna tear down, and then it's a 5-6 grand purchase that you now have to make. So a lot of families that I know that made their choice to live on the water, they all went through the sailing period. And then when they were tired of watching the sails, and you have not only watch the sail, you have to watch the weather, you have to wait for the weather, and you're not always free to go everywhere you want. You need to follow the wind, so to speak. So, and that basically switched them to the trawler type boats, right? To the trawlers and bigger trawlers where they can live with a family, and that's basically, so to speak, Greenline, which is a trawler type boat that is not super fast, and now you can have a sustainable approach to your yachting, right? You can have an electric motor, and you're basically driving electric motor up to 8 knots, which is similar to the sailing. So you have silent sailing without the mast, without the sails, without all that complexity. You don't need to wait for the bridges, and that's it. The problem solved.
Yeah, yeah. Greenline doesn't have any sailboats, huh? They just have yachts.
We have certain plans for 2026, but right now it's only the boat. Yeah, 39 to 58 feet cruising boats, cabin cruisers, saloon, closed cabin, open layout, very convenient and ergonomic way. All the helm station always have a door on the right, so you can jump out and single-hand the boat. It's really nice design and a thoughtful, concept.
Yeah, yeah. And like, so with your boats, I know you have like the show coming up, right, in Fort Lauderdale. I think it's called just like the boat show or something.
Fort Lauderdale Boat Show that is coming 29th of October until 3rd of November.
And you're going to be there?
Yes, we will have 4 boats on the show. We invite everybody. The Friday is typical day when we have all the guests coming in, and we invite all our friends. So join us, see the boat in person, and we can talk about it even more.
Yeah, it'd be fun to get some content. I just got these. Verizon sent me a free pair of these Ray-Ban smart glasses, and I've been testing out some content with these bad boys, and they're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, Fort Lauderdale, you might have to give me a room on one of the boats, because those hotels can be expensive, Stan.
Let's talk about it.
I mean, what do they sleep like? What, 5 or 10 people a person, right?
You can get up to 12. Yeah, we have forward cabin 2, rear cabin 2, and then foldable couch on the top. So it's like sleep 6 to 7, depending on the layout.
Oh wow! And your boat that you built is down there too, or is that in Miami?
It's in Miami on charters. We have one cabin down below that sleeps 2. Yeah, but it's a smaller 36 feet. The one that we were developing, the 48, has also the rear cabin, so it's sleep 4 and the open layout. Yeah, but we were focusing more like premium class segment. You have a little more room on the margin there, and you can have a nicer interior, better class materials, faster speeds, more capacity on the batteries, and higher performance boat that is more for the demanding, sophisticated customer that wants to to satisfy his needs, his ego, and have a unrestricted way of enjoying the water and making himself sustainable.
Wait, you're talking about your boat or Green Line's boat?
My boat. Yeah.
Your boat's for the Dawn.
Yes.
Why don't you just license your boat to Green Line and have Green Line manufacture it?
We talked about it, and we actually had a proposal from the government to build a factory in the Bay Area, in Florida Bay Area. And they offered.
Florida has a Bay Area too, like the San Francisco Bay Area.
Yeah, like the Tallahassee part.
That's the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully the government's not as crazy as California's government, right?
No, they are super helpful. They're super responsive. So the whole point is that if you remember, that there was a BP spill in about 10 years ago in the Gulf of Mexico.
Yeah.
So they paid like $7 trillion to the government in fees, and now government redirects that money into the grant programs, trying to develop and expand their region and their economic presence. So they offered us like 13 million to build a factory for 100 people, employees.
Oh wow! For Azor or for Green Line or for both?
For Green Line.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
Yeah. So yeah, they're super focused on bringing in more workforce and more companies, and yeah, they offer help in hiring, in infrastructure, in construction, in tax incentives. They offered us a free building. They're all in. They paid for the hotel stay to look at the area, so they're super motivated.
Wow. And how did you go about that process? Because I know, a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, applying for grants and government subsidies and government money, government contracts, etc.
You mean how?
Yeah, like how did you go about that process? Like, was it easy, or did they approach you, or did you approach them, or did you hire like a grant writer? Or
They approached me. They found us on the boat show.
oh, so that's the secret. You just got to go to the boat show, and that's how you get grants.
Well, it's not like that. They walked in the booth. They saw the boats. They saw that the company has a certain history, right? And that made them confident in their proposal, right? If it would be a startup, I wouldn't think it's gonna be possible. Yeah. Well, we actually had a certain process with a different company that wants to build the factory for the prefab houses,
Mm-hmm.
and that was more like a startup with certain history in Ukraine. They used to have a factory in Ukraine, and they wanted to move the factory somewhere, and that's when the Florida stepped in and said like, okay, we're open for that, and they offered like even higher amount of grant money, like 30 million or something, for 200 people
Wow.
factory. Yeah.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, Stan, we're running up on time here. This was definitely very informative. I learned a lot of things I didn't know about you and Greenline that I had known before. Um, and apologize for being late for sure. But I have one last question. So I'm trying to grow my hair out like Don Corleone, but like the problem is that I just have this weird hair where it's when it's not yet long enough to like fold back, you know, it just grows out like a fro, you know. And now I got these gray hairs coming in too, and I just don't know if it's worth it, you know, to try to look like Don Corleone or not. What do you think? Should I just keep shaving my head like I used to, or
Well, you have my choice, right?
what? I mean, you're bald, obviously. I mean, you like shaving your head. I normally like that, but most of my like mentors and advisors said I should grow it out because it makes me look less. It makes me look more approachable and less intimidating. They said I look intimidating when I have it,
Oh, really?
and we wouldn't ever want to intimidate the our customers and partners and clients, etc. Right?
I like the gray hair because it shows your wisdom part. So you're a little bit, yeah, more trustful to approach, and I think it's good. But
Cool.
I don't know. You have to have your own style. You don't need to look like Don Corleone.
Well, I've always wanted. I mean, I'm just using that as a reference. Like, I just always wanted. I mean, or Leonardo DiCaprio. You know, just like slick back hair. It's just something I've always wanted to do, and I just never have the patience to let my hair grow out. So I think I'm gonna go for it. But
Yeah,
I think
go
sometimes
go for it. Go for it. You just need to cut your hair on the side and make like.
no, Don Corleone's. And I mean, if you look at Leo, there it's slicked back all the way. Like here,
Oh,
let me show you real quick, and then we'll end this.
oh, okay. Yeah, I see that.
Look, let's see. I'll share my screen. And yeah, I mean, to the last thing I'll say, Stan, because I could talk to you all day, is yeah, I mean, it's definitely way harder to start certain brands. Like for instance, in the yacht business, yeah, it makes total sense, like you said. Um, you know,
Mhm.
it does make sense, like to your approach where you joined an existing brand. But like my first business, uh,
Mhm.
I grew that from just a little business in Pittsburgh to a global business where I had like customers in France, for instance, that would wire me hundreds of thousands of dollars without ever meeting me, um, because they trusted my brand, and I did that in
Mhm.
like a year or two. You know,
Yeah.
so it's I don't think it's impossible, but it's definitely more difficult for sure.
Yeah, it's possible, and but it's all about experience, and I'm really happy to get the experience not only starting the yachting business, but also looking at the business with like more than 10 years and getting into the into the dirty laundry and see how the things are really going on. So it's a lot to consider starting any company. So
Yeah, definitely. Well, anyway, Stan, I don't want to take up any more of your time. I appreciate you joining today. Like I said, you'll get a message here from me in 10 minutes with 20 clips that you could share on social. And we'll see you next week to learn more about green line and electric hybrid yacht technology.
Yeah, join us. We're gonna be on the G dock G713719.
Look forward to seeing you there, Stan.
And I have a ticket for you if you're gonna come.
I think I actually might be able to make this one.
And if you want, you can stay at my condo. We can drive together.
All right, that sounds like a plan.
All right.
All right, we'll talk soon.
All right. Take care.
Ciao.